Hey everyone, your host Nick here, and you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. First, I want to remind you that we are a fully independent podcast, quite literally just a group of friends who have met once a week since 2008 to talk about video games. If you like our show, the best thing you can do for us is be active in our community. I recommend Discord. You can subscribe to our show, leave us a review on your preferred podcast service, or, if you're so inclined, bless us with your patronage on Patreon or Twitch. If you're new, all you need to know is this. We record these shows live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central on Twitch, and the audio version launches on all podcast services on Friday morning. Patreon and Twitch supporters will even get the show a day early on Thursdays. But if you want to know more about any of this, about what we do, or find all the important links you need, simply visit us at 4playernetwork.com. And that's it. This is the only ad you'll ever hear on this show. So, with that said, thank you for listening. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 818, if I'm correct. So maybe somebody can confirm for me. Thank you, Chris Davis. Episode 818. It's December 3rd, 2024. I'm your host, Nick Henderson. I am joined this evening by Brad Simons.
Hey-o.
Christopher Guthridge. God damn it, Crispy. Why'd you?
Hello.
And Christopher Davis.
Always just wonderful backgrounds there, Chris. I gotta compliment you.
It's like it's when my fucking face appears behind him that I get completely thrown off.
I'm showcasing community art. All right.
You certainly are.
Community over at discord.gg/4player.
Yeah, if you have art to share, Crispy will be happy to throw it on the background during the recording.
So
anyways,
much
guys, welcome
art out there on our wonderful Discord.
Welcome to the show. It's time to talk about video games as we do here. We're gonna touch on a few things tonight. I know we're gonna talk about Stalker 2, maybe some Metaphor. I know Brad's bringing a new indie game to the scene, right?
Yeah, whatever, Nick. I'll be asleep until segment B, I guess.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I want to go first, bitch.
Okay, you can
He
go first.
always wants to go first.
I mean, let me tell you, I've probably been playing more of my game than you have been of yours, Nick.
That actually really hurt. That really hurt because it's been really tearing me up inside. I've been struggling this week. Hey, look, you know what? You know what I did do because I couldn't play Stalker 2. I did finish Dragon Age Veilguard.
Okay. You finished it.
I finished the Veilguard.
Wow.
That's good. I have not finished it because I went back to Dragon's Dogma 2 and
I don't blame you. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. And I don't intend to talk at length about Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and I don't think it's a bad game. I really don't. That game,
you have to care about the Dragon Age universe for one, and
I think that's part of my problem because I certainly don't think I care about it as much as something like Mass Effect. But with that said, I was invested in like the character dramas and stuff, and I wanted to like see how that played out. But two things I want to say about Dragon Age: The Veilguard. One, and I've never felt this way about any. Well, maybe not any. I think it's extreme, but I don't think I felt that way about many BioWare games. In that it wore out its welcome from a gameplay standpoint way before it wore out its welcome. Like I was for the last 15 hours, I was basically just in it for the story. I was like, the gameplay has completely felt like it kind of lost its luster. I was tired.
How many times did you respec though?
I'm not really a big respecker in general.
Okay, I'm just saying.
So, and that's
we're not all the same.
You're right. I'm like, this is purely just my own experience. Like, I kind of like to pick a build and stick with it.
Because you're right though. I can't imagine like playing through a game that long without trying out a bunch of different build ideas.
I will say this:
if
as
you
someone
really are
now,
doing the same shit the whole fucking game, yeah, I could see it.
You reach the end. You reach the end of a specialization tree fairly quickly, and then it's the same over and over and over again. So, my recommendation to anybody out here who's maybe considering playing it or already playing it is, if you're the kind of person who's into respec, because it is not going to change.
And it's more like based around like new unique loot that you're getting and stuff like that. Like there's definitely, I mean, it's not the deepest shit in the world, but like there's enough to like keep someone like me busy for the runtime, you know. And granted, I did stop playing, but I did play over 50 hours and you know.
Yeah. The second thing I want to say is, and this is maybe the bigger issue for me, because after having played through all of that game, the world in that game feels so small to me.
Well, it feels
like
kind of artificial,
because
honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it is but you remember Dragon Age 2 where it all takes place in one city, like the wall inside the walls of one city. I think I would have preferred that to this, which is there are like 5 areas you're going to go back to like over and over and over and over again. And
you
you're
forget Dragon Age 2, I think, but I see what you're getting at. It kind of had that Dragon Age 2 vibe to it because you're kind of returning to places in different states. You know, like time isn't progressing in the same way it did in Kirkwall or whatever, but it does have a similar vibe. But I mean, I like that you go to very distinct.
I do like that in theory.
Kirkwall really was like you were taking the same quest in the same caves. They just blocked off parts of the cave. I mean, Dragon Age 2 had issues.
It did have issues, but
not entirely their fault, but still.
You know how when you go into the overworld quote unquote map to like pick where you're gonna go to in Dragon Age Veilguard, like about halfway through the game, I was like, you can kind of see all the areas are like on the top, kind of near the top. They're clustered around the top of the map, and the bottom is kind of empty except for the necropolis. And I was like, okay, so by the end of this game, the whole map is going to kind of fill out. You're going to kind of go to all these places. No, at some point it just stops, and like by the end of the game, after 60 plus, almost 70 hours, the bottom half of the map is still completely empty.
You played that much Dragon Age by the end?
Yeah.
Were you kind of doing everything, or is it just a really long game?
I was doing everything related to companion quests. I didn't want to leave any companion.
That means my playthrough is probably going to be over 100 hours. That's crazy. You know, so many games that I played this year, and I know we're kind of just or more organically speaking. Because I did go back to Dragon Age. I mean, to Dragon's Dogma 2 finally, and I am in the post game finally. But I've hit about 100 hours on that, and you definitely don't need to play Dragon's Dogma that long. But I've realized that I kind of started playing that game kind of like how you described your experience with Red Dead 2, where you just kind of go out and you just kind of vibe with the environment and go
things
hunting.
Happen.
Like I just like, and that world is like way bigger than you would think. It's crazy how much Dragon's Dogma 2 is completely optional. If you kind of like beeline the main quest, you could probably get done in 25 hours, which is crazy because there's so much crazy shit to see in that world. But I really just I started like going out at night because night is obviously like one of the more amazing things about the Dragon's Dogma games, and it looks really good in 2. But just going out in the dark, turning off my lantern, and just looking for like golden beetles and seeker tokens out in the wild because they glow, and it's such a vibe. And I have and I had the mage spell, the upgraded version that like casts light. And all it does is, I think that's all it does is cast light. That looks so good when it's pitch black at night. It looks so good, especially when you're like in a forest and there's like a fucking, ogre that you didn't see just kind of standing there. That shit looks really good. And I have to say, they really kind of like patched up that PS5 version, and it runs so much better now than it did at launch. So that's a good one to circle back to if y'all just kind of dabbled earlier in the year. I really kind of enjoyed. I mean, I always knew I was going to go back, but
I kind of want to just boot it back up just to see what like the PC version's like now. I mean, it's not my experience wasn't super rough, but like I'm sure it's better.
Yeah, and the PC version I think was always a little bit better. But the reason I stopped Dragon Age is because I realized that like this game is very like autopilot. It's so easy to just go make progress. Like, what I mean is that like I know I'm gonna finish that game. I actually wanted to like finish that book I was reading, which hard to find time to read these days, and there's no audiobook. So, I've been, just kind of slowly working my way through it on my lunch breaks and stuff. and I kind of want to finish that book before I continue with the game, but that's going to be an easy one to hop back into because it kind of just goes right. Dragon's Dogma 2 definitely. I had some time off, right, and I wanted to. It's one of those games where you really got to spend a lot of time with the game before it gets its hooks back in you. It's not a short session kind of game. While Dragon Age is,
You got to find your flow again.
but I found my flow again, and I hit like almost 100 hours. It's crazy, but hey, super cool game by the way. It's definitely like my sort of shit.
Real quick side note, I forgot to mention this about the Veilguard. You want to hear some shit? Remember how I said I was like in it for the companion quest and stuff, right? And I was like working I was working my romance stuff the entire game, and I was like, okay, this is very much like classic BioWare thing.
You got shot down? You got shot down?
I didn't get shot down. I made a choice in the final, like after you kind of cross the point of no return, there's some stuff that happens, and then you get to the point where it's like if you have a romance option, this is where it'll kind of play out. And I got to a point just before that where I was given a choice, and I made a choice, and it iced me out of my sex scene, right? It just
get on, dude.
Wop, wop.
You can't just please everyone, can you?
I told this. I went outside after this happened, and I went to my wife, and I was like, I think I just got iced out of my sex scene in this game. And she goes, so what you're saying is you just wasted 60 hours? I was like,
did you get any sex scene? I wonder how like weird and muppety it is.
Well, no. I don't know if this was so like. I didn't get the sex scene when it was supposed to happen, and then when credits were rolling, like the mid credit, there was like a mid credit scene that seemed to. It was like, here, we're gonna give you the sex scene, and I think it like the context is a little different, but like, and it was weird. It was weird. It was almost like they realized they screwed me, and they're like, here, have a bone.
On the topic of Veilguard, can I ask you something real quick? Did you finish like the Solus quest line that has you like conversating with a certain character? You would know. You would know. I should say it's a scene where your converse, like the quest line is like you need to like talk it out with this person, and if it goes wrong, you're gonna have to fight this person or gods. You're gonna have to fight this person.
Yes, I did that. I did that quest.
Okay,
and I talked my way through it.
Isn't it crazy that like they built this moment up a little bit? I mean, they built this moment up like it wasn't like something that's super normal and something like in like a normal RPG where you can like communicate normally. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like it felt so funny to me that I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. But it's also like what you do like in every 10 minutes in a regular ass RPG. But to this game, it was like something special, and I thought that was kind of funny. But whatever.
RPG light, baby. Okay.
I've been playing a new game. You want to hear about it, Nick?
Well, hold on. I feel like we've kind of iced the Chris's out a little bit. Let's see what's going on with you guys.
They're going to get hyped about this game I'm talking about. They're going to get hyped.
I don't even have a game to talk about this week. Because I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 5, and I'm on the quote-unquote last mission, and I feel like it would be wrong to talk about it now without seeing what like that other half looks like.
Other half?
Or other, the beyond.
Oh,
you're getting
gotcha.
to the first ending.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
He doesn't know yet.
I was wondering what your criteria was for dictating when it was going to be the appropriate time to actually talk about this game that you've now played for like
do you know what
50
mission
hours
number?
Or something?
Mission number 30.
Okay,
it's the one where you actually have to like fight and destroy Sahelanthropus.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if he meant like mission 51 or whatever the fuck it was. I mean, whatever. That's not.
I'm not that far.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, it's a cool moment, I suppose.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Man, I remember like nothing about this game. Like nothing.
I watched Gladiator 2. Is that what you were kind of wanting to chat about?
Me?
Random shit?
I mean, I was just giving everybody an opportunity to talk before we like delve super deep into like bigger impressions or whatever. But I mean, we could. I saw Wicked. We saw just talk about movies.
I don't even know what Wicked is. All all I know is that clip where the dudes are arguing about she came down in a bubble, Doug.
Jesus.
Dawn. Yeah. Or John. I don't know. Yeah, no. That's great. Sorry,
Anyways,
go ahead. How was Gladiator 2?
It was fine.
I heard it was pretty lame.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sequel to Gladiator.
I mean, I feel like anything, if you say how's Gladiator 2 and someone says kind of fine, that's...
I mean, there's some, like, I mean, Denzel Washington's in it, and he's always pretty fun to watch. Sure. And he was definitely fun to watch here. There were, like, some cool Gladiator scenes. They filled the arena with water, which, you know, they definitely didn't do that in the first one. Which, you know,
or in real life, probably, I would imagine.
No, they did do that in real life.
They did do that?
They did mock naval battles in real life. So it is cool that they had it in the sequel. The aqueducts, dog. Come on, man. Romans, they knew some stuff. It wasn't all.
You make it sound like it almost feels like you just put the words in my mouth that I said Romans had no idea what they were doing. That's not what I said.
It was fine. I don't know. It was weirdly like man, you just got to let the past go. They should have just told a new story, and it's like obsessed with that first movie and Russell Crowe's character, and you know, it's just like, I guess this is what sequels are. That makes sense.
I went back and watched the first Gladiator for maybe the first time in a decade because I thought we were gonna go see it on Sunday.
By the way, you should do that if you are going to see the sequel, because it's a 2024 sequel. You know.
No. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I did. I watched it.
Yeah. How was it? Does it hold up?
I mean, yeah, it holds up. I mean,
I like outside of the arena, at least.
I mean, a little bit. Honestly, watching it again, and I don't know if I'm going to get skewered for saying this, but like, I did not like the way a lot of the action was framed in that first movie.
I mean, I don't know. It's like worse now. Like now, there's more like edits and cuts and stuff. At least there, it was like.
But like edits and cuts don't really bother me as long as you can kind of tell what's like the flow of a fight is happening.
That's
like
what I mean. You didn't get that from the original Gladiator?
No, dude. Like there's a big moment. I'm sure you remember in the first one where like they let in like all these people on chariots and they're like circling them and they're like everyone's getting like get together in the middle, and then like when shit starts to kind of hit the fan and people start dying, I couldn't tell if someone that I should care about died. I was like, wait, was that a good guy or a bad guy? Like, what just happened? Like, who was that? Somebody important? And I didn't really realize.
Cared about Russell Crowe, though. Let's be honest.
No, I mean,
you know what's funny? So I don't know. This is some minor spoilers, but I think people know this. The kid, remember the kid in the original Gladiator? So he's the main character of this new one, right? Paul Mescal, which is an actor I thought I didn't know at all. I was like, I don't even know what this guy's from, but he was in this movie After Sun that I saw a couple years ago, which is like not only a great film, but like maybe the saddest movie I've ever seen in my life. So like, he's a good actor. I just had never seen him in anything, I thought, but he did a fine job in this, I suppose. But the kid from the original movie, it's funny because he was the kid in Unbreakable.
Yes.
Is that the name of the movie?
Wait. Yes, Unbreakable. Yeah.
Same kid actor who played his grown-up character in Glass. You know, because the other thing about sequels these days is that they're obsessed with not recasting when they're doing sequels. Yeah, legacy characters. Casting. And I'm like, oh man, he came back for Glass, but I guess he couldn't like hit the gym hard enough to play his charter in Gladiator 2.
Damn, that's fucked.
Well, you know, I mean, they wanted a star, I suppose, but I don't know. We're done. This conversation's run its course.
Look, I saw Wicked. Can I just say I saw Wicked, and as someone who has never seen Wicked or really knew anything
Have you seen
about
Wizard of Oz? I thought you were about to say Wizard of Oz.
No. Yes, I've seen the Wizard of Oz. Of course, I've seen it's probably been a very long time since I've seen the Wizard of Oz, but of course I have. But I had never seen Wicked. I never really knew much about the production or the story or anything like that. Like you, Brad, prior to going to see this, maybe the biggest like touch point for me was that meme video of the guy. She came down in a bubble, John. Like that video, right?
Doug.
I went and saw Wicked, and it was fucking awesome. Like I really liked that movie. I feel like that's kind of the reaction a lot of people are having to it.
That's not the reaction I've been seeing.
Really? Oh man, I thought.
Apparently, a lot of people who are really into the play do not like the movie.
Well, I feel like there's. My wife's really into the play. She loved it.
Like this, it's a two-parter. They're just not advertising that part well.
Yeah. That is one thing that's true.
And then I also think there's a thing like there are people who like the book but don't like the play or the movie. Like
there's a book,
or nobody likes the book, or there's a book and it's
the Wizard of Oz book.
I'm saying if you are into if you're into like the production and you like the story and you like the music, which is an important part of it, right? I don't think you're going to be disappointed in the film. It's pretty damn good.
Malia and Henry watched that one on their own, and I didn't miss it. They also watched Moana 2, which I didn't get to go to because I was watching Gladiator 2 with the men of the family.
What the fuck?
But I heard
perpetuating this. Why are you perpetuating this bullshit?
It was a Thanksgiving like decision, you know. So I'm like, I guess I go see Gladiator. I heard Moana 2 was kind of mid as well. So fuck it. What are we talking about here?
They're all mid.
Oh, Wicked. You like Wicked, except for
we did get tickets to see Nosferatu on Christmas Day, and I'm pretty excited about that.
I want to see that. I want to see.
That is how we will be spending our Christmas evening.
Very excited.
Watch all the Dracula Flow videos, then go watch Nosferatu.
No, I think I'm gonna rewatch all the what's his? Is it Robert? Is it Robert or Roger? Roger Eggers? Robert Eggers? Someone help me.
Eggers.
I know it's Eggers. I don't remember his first name.
It's Robert.
Robert.
Okay, Robert Eggers. I always question myself whether I'm getting it right. Go watch the Robert Eggers films. Eggers, because man, I've loved pretty much all of them.
Go watch Nosferatu, the original, and then the remake that came out like in the 80s.
The original you can find on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's like public domain.
Prince is asking if I've watched Renfield. And I have not, but my wife went and saw it with her mom, and she said she didn't like it.
Yeah, I've not heard good things.
Anyways,
that Bram Stoker's that overrated Coppola movie. I don't even know why people like it. I hate that fucking movie with Keanu. Speaking of Keanu,
wait, what is this transition?
What?
Armored Core, dog.
But we're not here to talk about Armored Core. What are we doing? I thought you were talking about.
Well, when does that Armored Core? When does that secret level stuff drop? Is it already out? Is it coming out? What is it? Next week. Is it all going to drop at once, or we have to watch the Concord episode first? No one knows.
I mean,
who's going to do it? Out of morbid curiosity, who's going to watch?
They're all shorts, right? They're all like 20 minutes.
Well,
I mean, because it's not like I don't feel like
it's long.
I don't know. Maybe somebody in chat knows.
It is one of them is going to premiere at the Game Awards.
It is an Amazon Prime. It is an Amazon Prime series, and Amazon Prime has historically done like they usually release like the first 2 episodes of something at the same time, and then after that it's week to week. But with this, it's like a 20-minute. Each one's like 20 minutes, so like maybe that's not what they're doing.
You're not going to let me go first, are you?
No, I am totally. The first segment is all you, Brad.
Fuck yeah, dude!
I don't like you giving him that power. I don't like that.
Game. This is one I'm surprised Chris Davis has not spoken about, because it seems like maybe it would have been his vibe. I mean, I know he talked about their previous game a little bit on this podcast.
Our previous game. Oh, their previous game.
Game.
I don't know which. I don't even know what studio made this.
A little game that came out, a couple months ago called Echo Point Nova. This is from an indie developer who previously made a game called Severed Steel. Familiar with this game?
I am familiar.
So like famously a crazy FPS where you can like flip all the way upside down in the air. Anyways, they made a new game that's like an open world shooter, but you also have a grapple gun and a hoverboard, and there's floating islands, and you can go really fast and find agility orbs and upgrades and new weapons. And this game is like super fucking cool and fun to play, and I highly recommend people try out the demo. There's a demo, so it's a game
that's already referencing Tribes.
I had heard I mean, it's crazier than Tribes even. I mean, this game you just fly all over the fucking place. But
dude,
yeah, I
Tribes is
understand.
sick.
Tribes is cool, but I mean, look at this footage; it's nuts. Tribes, you have to think about like the slope of the hill when you are building momentum. You know, like it's this game is just nuts. Like this is the game that of like they should really. By the way, there's like you probably can't see what's happening, but there's also like a geomod. Like you could just
like you're digging. I see you digging
just
through
dig
the
the
earth.
fucking environment. But it's an open.
Ooh, it's
world,
Red Faction-y.
Red Faction-y. So think like Breath of the Wild, right? With floating or like Skyward Sword or something. You know, it's a bunch of floating islands, and there are things to find, and there's like combat challenges on like these kind of like bespoke islands that are like sort of like arenas that you sort of trigger, and then you're finding new weapons and upgrades and perks. But like the hook of this game is just how much like freedom of movement you have. You can like they definitely gave you all the keys, and they're just saying like go crazy with it. You have a grapple hook, you have a hoverboard. That hoverboard can like grind on any surface. You can just grind vertically to like go up a surface to like get even more air, and you go really fast, and
seeing the hoverboard in first person is throwing me off.
Well, it is I mean, it's a first person shooter. Like so the trailer calls it well, it's not okay. There's a trailer that I thought I was gonna have on here for trailer talk, like an accolades trailer or something maybe. And they're quoting like, PC Gamer or some shit. They call it Doom meets what the fuck did they say? God, I can't remember. Doom meets
this sounds like a me description.
Yeah.
Are you watching the footage? This is what I'm saying. Like I'm surprised. Chris Davis didn't know about this game. I heard it being talked about on like some podcasts lately, and I was like, man, this really does sound like up my alley in terms of like the movement and control options. And sure enough, so I had tried a demo literally on my Steam Deck. I was like, I heard this actually runs on a Steam Deck. I'm going to try this on a Steam Deck. And I was playing the demo for hours, and I forgot that I did not buy the full game, that I've been playing a demo. And I'm like, holy shit. So then I bought the game, and I did have to start over. It didn't carry over, but like it was different, right? Like there were some differences. And so like, but it's so fun to play that I definitely did not mind that I had to start over, because it's just so cool. It's so cool. And all I can say is like try the demo, but how like when what am I trying to say? That there are games where like not like Tribes. I mean, Tribes is certainly cool. That's like a multiplayer thing, but there are games where it's like, hey, you could do this cool like maneuver if you do this.
Did this game, which apparently has an accolades trailer, not even register on OpenCritic?
It's possible. Maybe it wasn't.
I'm looking for it. I'm not finding it.
This game has co-op. This game would be really fun in co-op.
Bullshit.
Man, I really did mean to put that trailer on Trailer Talk. So you can watch. I mean, I don't know how I'm making the game look. I've been playing this on my Steam Deck, but then it's a situation where I switched over to my PC with a different controller and a different monitor, and I'm like, whoa, this is weird. I adjusted the FOV, but I kind of tried to warm up a little bit before I recorded this footage. But it's a crazy, fast-paced game where sometimes you can't get to the enemy, so you just dig a hole through the environment, which is insane in a game that moves as fast as it does, that you can also just destroy the environment. But since you have so many tools to get around the environment, it doesn't matter that you're destroying it. Because
some of my fondest memories of playing a first-person shooter were just like spending a ridiculous amount of time using all of my missiles to dig holes through rock walls in Red Faction. Like I was obsessed. Yep. I would dig like tunnels and then go to the end of the tunnel and then use the what do you call it? The weapon that could shoot through walls to like snipe
like a railgun or whatever.
Yeah, railgun. Yeah. So I feel it. I feel the like that's That's pretty cool and pretty unique, and I don't see it very much these days.
And it's not just like the controls and like it's so inherently fun just to move around this game, and like the combat feels good. And somebody in chat asked, I can't believe you're playing this with a controller. Well, the thing is, I'm playing it on Steam Deck, and I kind of don't have a choice, but it works surprisingly well as a controller game, just because there's a lot of like auto aim that they built. I don't know if like the settings detect that I'm on a Steam Deck or whatever, but like the default controls with a controller are like absolutely like just fine. But it's just a cool world to explore. These islands, they feel like completely different, and there's like secrets and stuff you're looking for, and it's fun to like try to figure out where the agility orbs are and like get to those agility orbs, because
there it is. That's really what's doing
it's very Crackdown, right? Like you want to get that stuff, because when you get that next level of agility upgrade, it's stuff like, well, now you can grapple twice instead of just once with a cooldown, and those little upgrades kind of change everything in terms of like how much freedom you have in terms of movement. Like I got an ability, so I got it in the demo early, but I didn't get it yet in the main game, and I don't know if it's because this is an open world game. I don't know if I just didn't go to that area yet, or if the demo changed versus the final game. But I got an ability, it's like a spell. I can throw down like a air bubble that like launches me up into the air. And when you're already like moving this fast and have this momentum, having something to be able to like launch you up into the air anytime you want is not just great, but you can also like throw it under like enemies' feet and stuff and like send them flying, or throw it on like a vertical surface that you're about to run into and like pop yourself way back. Like they just give you all of the tools. It reminds me of like Bayonetta or something, where when Bayonetta came out, it's like, I felt this way about Devil May Cry. It's like, oh, well, what if you could just have infinite bullets, and now the game is more about keeping shit up in the air, right? Like it's a different like design philosophy. And then when Bayonetta came out, it's like, well, what if you can just dodge as much as you want, and then if you dodge perfectly, you could just slow down time as much as you want, and we're not going to limit you. This game feels like a game with no limits, where every other game is obsessed with like stamina meters, and you can only do this thing once in the air, and then you have to land to be able to do it again. This game says, fuck it, we're just going to give you all the tools, get creative. And it's just
let you have fun. I feel like you buried the lead a little bit, dude. You just opened the map for the first time, and I was like, holy shit.
It's open world floating island game. Imagine
it looks like there's like 1,000 islands. They're all small, but like
it's big.
That was bananas.
But you got to understand, this is a game you can get around so fucking fast that it makes sense that there's like a million of these islands, because they're places to explore, but they're also just like your grapple points when you're going through the air like 800 miles an hour. It's really cool. This game is really fucking cool. I'm surprised there's no I guess I'm not surprised there's no professional reviews, because it's kind of been a year, and it's especially been hard for indie games to stand out. I don't know if like this developer's like previous game, Severed Still, got reviews necessarily. I do remember Chris Davis talking about it. I think it was like a Steam Next Fest demo you played, Chris Davis, if you don't remember.
Might be.
Severed Still, is that what it's called? Because that was a game with like crazy shooting mechanics where you can like completely turn yourself upside down. Like you could do flips in the air as a first person shooter, which is always like a crazy cool thing. And I'm fighting mechs.
Neon VR kind of visuals and
You're
stuff.
fighting mechs on floating islands while flying around on a hoverboard with a grappling
hook.
It's
crazy. It's like a fucking Mountain Dew of a video game, but I'm telling you, like it's the game feel is so good that I kind of just couldn't stop playing it. And it reminded me, well, I didn't. Okay. When I was younger, we called them Quake Eyes. Maybe y'all's touchstone is different. What's like a fast-paced shooter, like a really fast-paced shooter that you played growing up? But like my eye, when I was
things like that.
Yeah, I know. I guess I meant for the younger people. Maybe you're old like me, Chris Davis.
He's an old soul. We've already established this.
What I'm saying is, when I was done playing after like I don't think I've had a session that went more than like an hour and a half. But my eyes hurt. My eyes hurt like I hadn't blinked for that entire time. That's what I felt.
That's not an endorsement. I don't know what is.
I was like, I need eye drops or something. This is fucked up, and I haven't had that feeling in a long time.
It should be a box quote. This game made my eyes hurt, Brad Simons.
but not like, I mean, I think visually it's got a cool look and it like runs really smooth. Like you can even I was able to get this game to run really like 60 FPS on a Steam Deck. And I think it like kind of turned off a bunch of like visual settings like by default, but like this is not a game you're playing for the visuals. You want to have like the fastest.
Well, how do you know? Maybe it's gorgeous on when you have all those things.
Well, no, this footage I'm playing on my PC and it's running really good, but
you did tell us today in Discord that your PC is like 8 years old.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
saying.
So what I'm saying is like they prioritize like frame rate and stuff. So yeah, there's a demo out there that's like huge. It's a huge demo, so much so that I forgot I was playing a demo. When I was like, oh, I'm definitely talking about this on the podcast, and I forgot. Oh wait, this is still the demo.
This isn't even the real game.
It's not even the real game. But yeah, so definitely try that demo because man, the game feel is just crazy. And I don't know, I love like floating islands, that sort of thing. It's so cool. It's cool. Echo Point Nova, try the fucking demo.
Yeah, Echo Point Nova for those who missed it.
I just installed it.
And it seems like a game that would be hard to play, but like they've definitely like tuned this in such a way that like I'm playing this with the controller and moving this fast, it seems impossible, but there's enough like snap to. I mean, you got to lead shots when things are like enemies are like flying all over the place, of course, but like there's enough snap to like target when you're like aiming that like it's. You're going to be doing cool shit almost immediately. And it's going to feel really cool and good. And you're going to look and feel like a god, even though the game is just tuned in such a way to make it to where everyone feels like that. And to me, that's the sign of a good one of these for sure. So
sweet.
I know it's a late in the year. And for some of us dumb podcasters, that like means we're out of time, but for the normies out there that are listening, just try the demo because it's fucking cool. You can get back to your metaphor later or whatever the fuck.
I can't get back to metaphor later because I have less than a month to finish that game or I will be forever labeled
Racist.
I'll be
Yeah.
I'll take this opportunity to transition and talk because I have not talked about Metaphor Fantazio since I think I talked about it when it was still a demo, but demo's the weird term because it's like the first 3 or 4 hours of the game. And at this point now, I'm sitting somewhere in like the 22, 23 hour point in the game.
That's not far for a game like that, though.
It's
right?
not. I mean, I did play through Dragon Age: The Veilguard since I started this. Which was maybe not the best use of my time, given the fact that I've accepted this challenge. But
I know it's like if you enjoy this game at all, like why are you just playing it? But then again, we've had a weird conversation last year about a game that you enjoyed, so maybe I don't want to get into it.
Yes, don't bring it up. Don't bring it up.
So you're 20. How many hours in?
22, I think 23 somewhere.
Have
in
you
there.
even finished the tutorial at this point?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like the first, like if you played the demo or the opening hours of the game, that pretty much serves as like the prologue for the story. So if you get through that, the game is, at that point you're in it. So I'm pretty deep now into the story. I'm like, I've got a feel for kind of like, I mean, all the systems I've got a feel for and how the flow of the game works and the comparisons that are obviously going to be made to Persona, because in a lot of ways this game is just kind of it's a reskinned Persona in some ways, but in other ways it's completely different. But one thing, I mean, like because I played through Persona 5 Reload or Persona 4 Reload, or no, sorry, Persona 3 Reload earlier this year. That was my first Persona game. So now I'm playing something that is...
That was not your first Persona game. That was the first.
It was my first Persona game that I finished. Every other Persona game prior to that, I had fallen off around the 20-hour mark. So I'm technically at the point now in Metaphor where I would potentially
we're in December. Do you think you're going to make it?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to talk about it in the second segment, but Stalker 2 that's going to be a big threat. But we'll see. I mean, I'm also playing this.
It's only a threat if you're racist. Let's be clear here.
I guess that's true. But this
There are
is
Metaphor fans that already have tattoos of this game. I'm sure. I promise you that's real.
Well, they probably
yeah,
had
I mean,
tattoos before the game came out.
that is definitely possible.
So look at this menu.
Dude, the menu is so sexy. The menu is so unbelievably overproduced, but it's like amazing. Oh my god, it's like half their budget went into like making this menu. It's insane.
You say the words. The menu looks so sexy.
I've been in the Velgard
people's feet.
I've been in the Velgard Dragon's Dogma menu trenches, man. I could use some flair.
If you want some sexy menus, play Metaphor Fantazio. They're some of the sexiest I've seen in years. It just feels nice, like clicking through the menus and like selecting things and like seeing how everything animates. The screen you get when you finish a fight, and it does this like slow-mo, like dramatic walk. You see the entire team, and it's like this dramatic downward angle from above. It's just like telling you your experience points and stuff. It's like, oh man. Chef's kiss. It's so good.
I love the calendar stuff too. That stuff is so fucking
dude. No, it's really cool. And I think I briefly talked about this. Like kind of the social positioning of this game is kind of built around something totally different than Persona, right? Because with Persona, you're building relationships with your classmates, and those are your social links. The social links in this game are they work similarly, but like they're all helping you to like build your all the classes and the social links that you're working on are helping you build the various components that make up like a good leader, right? Or in this case, because everyone this game is it's very strange because like the central story around this is suddenly everybody in the world is given the ability to like vie for to become king of this land, right? So everyone's like, oh my god, it could be me. So you are thrust into the situation where suddenly you're like, okay, well, I've got to do this, and now everyone is competing against everyone to become king. So you are building your social links with other people to like boost your eloquence and your imagination, and I forget what all of them are, but like they're all aspects that would make a good leader, right? So that's kind of the thing.
Nick, I heard this game has some sick ass characters. Is that true?
It does have some pretty good characters.
Did you meet the bat yet? I heard the bat like is sick.
The funny thing is that I think so, but like I didn't think it was a bat. I thought he was a mouse, but I guess he's a bat.
That's funny.
Yes, you'll see him in this footage. He looks like a little mouse, but I guess it's a bat. I don't know. Yes, he's a pretty cool character.
Maybe he's a rat. I don't know. I thought I heard someone call him a bat. Maybe they said rat.
There were points where I was like, okay, maybe he's not a mouse. I don't know. You'll see what I'm talking about when you see him.
Did he fly? Does he have wings?
He does not fly or have wings, but he kind of looks like he might have wings hidden somewhere. I don't know. Yes, the characters in this game are pretty fucking good. There's also Hulkenberg.
Hulkenberg, yeah. What a name, dude.
Hulkenberg?
Yeah, Hulkenberg. I mean, I think she's a fan favorite. I think everybody loves her. And she, it still feels a lot kind of like Persona in that like it's a much more serious like.
But they're not annoying high school kids now, right?
Right. But they all have like they still kind of have like funny personal quirks. Like Hulkenberg is this, she's this like elf knight
eating or something.
She loves eating, but all the food that she loves,
dude.
No. She loves eating, but all the food that she loves eating is like fucking disgusting. And every time she eats, people are like, "What the fuck?" So, and she's like obsessed with. She's always gravitating towards like food that everybody else thinks is vile. So like that's kind of her thing. But yeah, like not all. I don't think all the characters necessarily. So far where I'm at, I don't think all the characters are necessarily like winners. There's a few that I've yet to be sold on.
You've not developed those relationships yet.
I don't know. I don't know. But like, what's there so far is pretty good, and I am really enjoying it. And let me just tell you, the kind of like the overarching like story of this game is just fucking batshit bananas crazy, and everybody in this world, like, they keep referencing humans, and humans are monsters. So like the word
Yeah.
humans and the word monsters are basically interchangeable.
Whoa.
So they're talking about, but like
Social commentary.
no. But when you actually come across, like, they're usually boss fights. So you come across a human.
They're
and
horrifying.
it's like these horrifying giant mutations that look nothing like people. Like they're like the most.
It's what some of us look
bananas.
like on the inside, Nick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But like the main character carries around this like storybook that talks about a place where it basically describes our world where there's like democracy and stuff. It's strangely relevant.
The most. This is. I don't want to take it back to Gladiator 2 and democracy.
But you're going to.
But like I was listening to a conversation about it, and they're like, and they brought up such a fucking good point. They're like, it's hard to watch movies about like where heroes are fighting for democracy.
Yeah.
When like it's
when it's falling apart in the real world.
Yeah, well, Dunn already did, right? It's so funny because it is such a good point because it's like the lens, like it's like horse shit now, right? It makes it hard to watch a nice story about something like that,
dude.
Where the heroes get their democracy, and it's funny that.
I know we're going off on a tangent here, and I certainly don't want to delve into politics and get super depressed here. But like, I don't like. I don't feel like I can watch The West Wing, which I want to.
Oh God, I was not able to watch The West Wing like many administrations ago. I love The West Wing, but there was one point where I grew up and put away my childish things. Man, it is not cool anymore. It is not cool anymore.
It is. I mean, it's still an amazing show. It's an amazing show, but it is fantasy now.
It was fantasy then too.
I know, but like
it was fantasy then.
It is the ultimate peak of like the fantasy of liberalism.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a hell of a sidebar. But I will say, when I started playing this game, it was very much kind of like I didn't expect that to be kind of like a core conceit of the story. But man, this game is super fucking political. I mean, it's crazy. Like,
but still in like a Persona way, not like in a cool Matsu.
I mean, this kid is like this kid is in a situation where he's running for king because he's basically sees this like fascist piece of shit who is like swooping in and trying to like steal the kingdom, and he's like, I gotta stop that from happening. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, fucking Christ. So that aspect of it's making it a little hard to kind of stomach sometimes. But it's pretty cool. I'll tell you right now, having played Persona 3 and this game in the same year, I think Persona 3 Reload was a great remake of that game. The one thing I think they've done to improve from Persona to this is they've kind of gotten the flow down. Like everything flows really nicely. I think the biggest part about
Persona. Now remember, Persona 3 was their first attempt at this formula.
True, but
it is a gussied up. You played a gussied up PS2 game,
right?
Yeah, this is them.
Persona 4 and Persona 5.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have now. It's like you played the remake of Demon Souls earlier this year, and now you're playing like Bloodborne, right? Like they have since figured this formula out, and they are good at it, and they know they're good at it, and they're probably going to keep doing it. But
this game does certain things better, I think, than even Persona 5. You know what I mean? Like this is the one where I think they're
getting better at it. It makes me excited for Persona 6, but like maybe I don't care about Persona 6. Maybe I'm a metaphor girly now. I don't know. I purchased this. I just have not started it yet. It was actually like a pretty good sell on this game on PSN. So I just bought it. It was like, I don't know. It's like $70 normal, but it was like 52 or something. Or
nice.
Like it was a pretty good sell, and I was like, "Oh, this game's brand new. I'm glad I'm getting it for a steal."
See, look, you can see the character's name is Heisme. I think it's a mouse. I don't think he's a bat. I think it's a mouse.
Okay. Well, maybe you need to develop that social link to get to see their wings.
Yeah.
I hear that's a really good character. So he's
pretty great. I just got him like a couple days ago, so I haven't really like gotten to know him yet, but like, yeah, he's right out of the gate. He seems like a pretty sweet character, like a pretty cool character, not like a really.
You say that Bognos in chat, but this dude put Persona 5 on his top 10 list that year, and he tells me that everything on his top 10s are gold.
Don't fucking do it, Brad. I did Persona 5. That game was pretty great. I honestly still regret that I have not.
It was good enough to make number 9 or 10, right?
Yeah, it was. Fuck you and your.
Well, no, you're the one who says those mean a lot.
They do. They all do.
So I'm saying you're a Persona fan.
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
This man finished a Persona game, and this year, afterwards he was like, "Yeah, Persona."
I think I'm a Persona fan as of this year, as of 2024. Like having played 85.
You're gonna be playing Persona
hours.
6 day one, die hard. If Stalker 3 and Persona 6 drop on the same day, which one are you playing?
Well,
probably not Stalker 3. It's gonna run like shit, right?
I mean, I kind of okay. We're gonna talk about that. All right.
Okay.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we're gonna have an incredibly painful conversation about Stalker 2. It's only gonna be painful for me. To be clear, it's only gonna be painful for me. Chris Davis has played a fuck ton of it.
Zero Skies, you're a fucking mark, dude.
I mean,
he's not an enjoyer. This motherfucker is gonna put 8 more hours into this game, and it's gonna make his number 11. And he's like, no, I love Metaphor. Number 11, it's an honor. I'm telling you, I'm not saying he's got to get a tattoo, but he's gonna hurt some people's feelings. Just you watch.
I think Metaphor has a really good shot of being on my list.
The fact that you're saying that when everyone else, it's like they're number 1 with the bullet, and you're saying maybe it'll make my list. But do it.
Prepare yourself.
There's a difference.
It will not be my number 1. Yes, and you're right. I am
20
not
hours in. What if by the end of it is?
Look, Brad, I'm not like I like these games, but I'm not like I'm not like slobbing its knob. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy it, and it's good, and it's a really great game, and it's got a lot of personality. But it's been some pretty great games for me. But whatever, I don't want to get into that. When we come back from the break.
Says it all, really.
By the way, Chris Davis, I looked it up on Steam. You've played like 23, 24 hours or something of Stalker 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is what I consider a fuck ton when I've barely managed to scrape out about 3 or 4 hours of stable gameplay.
Is that true?
Yes.
I don't know if that
I've spent twice that amount of time trying to get it to run. But I will say this, and maybe I'll kind of leave it at this. I did download the patch, which is the 3rd patch that came out today, and I did boot it up for a little bit, and I played it for about 10-15 minutes, and it was pretty fucking smooth.
Good.
Knocking on wood.
Yeah, but wasn't it always pretty smooth for a few minutes, and then kind of like took a shit?
There was one time where that happened. So I don't know for sure. I'm still gonna have to like sit down and play for like an hour or 2 or try to and see if it works. But like the last 10 times that I've tried booting it up, it just right out of the gate. As soon as the game loads up, it runs smooth for about 10 seconds and then just memory leak. Everything crashes.
10 seconds. I thought you were playing a lot more before the memory
leak. Like I said, I have managed.
Not even a memory leak.
I have managed to. No, listen. Shut the fuck up, Brad. Listen. I have managed to eke out about 3 or 4 solid hours of like smooth playing. The first time I played this game, I played it for the first night like, on launch night. This is the crazy thing. On launch night, I played it for 2 straight hours, smooth as butter, running on epic settings. No issues. Booted it up the next day to play more, and within about 10 minutes, memory leak. Everything slowed down to like 2 frames. So I lowered all the settings. I've started going through all this shit, doing all the things.
But yeah.
I changed the settings even to low, same issue. And then it got to the point where they released a patch, and it worked for about an hour. And then after about an hour, memory leak. And now, ever since that point, every time I booted up within about 5 or 10 seconds of the game starting, memory leak. Today I played it for about 10-15 minutes, no issues. So it's been a struggle, but today's patch was huge. It was like 23 gigabytes. And there were a couple recommendations for a couple things that I had not tried yet in Discord. So I shout out to those of you who sent me some recommendations. I did those as well, and I'm hoping that maybe that contributed. We'll see. I'm not super hopeful. It's been a struggle. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. When we come back from the break, Chris Davis is going to lead us through a conversation about Stalker 2, and I'm going to contribute what I can. Because it's pretty cool. It seems pretty cool. So if you're watching at home,
I hate to say it, but I'm
oh
going to call him the authority on this anyes.
Well, yeah,
even before. Yeah.
I mean, I was never going to be the authority on Stalker 2, but it is funny that like I've managed to play. I've had like maybe the worst PC experience I've had in a long time trying to get Stalker 2 to run, but the amount of the 3 or 4 hours that I played, I already know if I can just get this running at a stable, like if I can just get it stable, it'll be one of my favorite games of the year.
It's the Slav jank difference, man.
Yeah,
they don't settle for ugly Eurojank games. They're like, no, we're gonna make this look beautiful.
There's something about my rig or the combination of things and the kind of the optimization.
It ain't unique to you, man.
I'm not saying it's unique to me, but there are people like I can see people on my Steam's friend list who have put 30, 40 hours into the game already, and that's not even
part of the experience. Honestly, that's part of it.
But anyways,
people who aren't having the issues.
Yes, I do hate all of you. But anyways, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Stalker. Maybe we'll do some checkout. We'll check in on Fantasy Critic and wrap up with the 4-player minutes. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right.
Do you think it's comfy to sleep in something like what I'm wearing in that picture? Do they take that off before they get into the bed? They do.
Are you talking about the Scrooge pajamas?
Sleep with it on?
Sleep with that.
They sleep with it on.
Yeah.
So you don't need a sheet, like you're wearing the sheet?
You have like a blanket, but like this is also like, if you think of like England, it's probably cold.
See, that's
a lot more often than it is in Texas,
Yeah.
That makes me think I would wake up in the middle of the night and it would be like the entire thing would be up around my chest. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but you sound like a violent sleeper if that's the case.
I might be. I mean, I do turn a lot.
Nick sleeps in the.
I think it's mostly for like, just airing out.
Bread.
Airing out the downstairs.
Out the goods.
Airing out the goods. I mean, that's fair. I will say, like, I never sleep nude. Even after like relations, I will like put clothes on because I'm terrified I might scratch my ass in the middle of the night. Is no one else afraid of like sleep scratching their ass?
Wait,
no one's afraid of sleep scratching?
On what are you talking about?
I'm saying, like, is there no fear that if you sleep naked that you might, in your sleep, reach for your butt crack?
And
like if you have an itch or something, like if you're scratching like in your butt area.
Bog Noise says finger up the butt by accident. Like, is that what you're worried?
Just like if you have an itch or something.
Do you not like wash yourself?
Do you not cut your fingernails?
It don't matter how many times you wash. I don't trust that region. That's just how I am.
You should sleep naked, but have a glove in your bed.
There we go. There we go. But then what if I rub my eye?
Well, take the glove off.
It's not just touching my butt region. It's that I might touch other places in my sleep. I don't know what happens when I'm sleeping.
I feel like you've got too many places that you're afraid of touching.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's mostly just the one, I think. It's mostly just the one. And
Wouldn't that be really funny? I'm just picturing now like Brad going to sleep and he's like, I sleep in the nude, but he's just wearing a single glove.
Oven mitts is a good one.
He's wearing oven mitts on both of his hands.
Just to tape them on.
I should try that. Like it.
Oh my god! Just do that one night and like don't even give context to Malia. Just be like, All right, good night.
I'm just saying the possibility of a random itch could cause tragedy. You know, pink eye in the morning. Who
Really?
knows?
I'm so... Somebody Ravixi in chat says poop glove, and that made me think of the poop knife conversation. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've thought about that conversation.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because the seasons are changing. You know, my skin is drier. I'm scratching more. It's a concern.
I'm so glad I'm recording all of this, and it is fucking staying in for the YouTube version.
I don't think it's controversial or that concerning.
No,
it's weird.
It's not. It's just funny. It's just one of those things that's just funny. It's like I've never thought about this. This is legitimately the first time, and I find it to be.
I mean, adults get pink eye, and it's probably because they're sleeping.
Yeah, that's why. That's.
Well, I'm not saying that's why you get pink eye, Nick. We all know why you get pink eye.
Oh, moving on. Okay, Christopher Davis.
Hi.
Tell us about Stalker 2.
Well, Stalker 2 is a pretty alright game. It's definitely not shit in your eye. But yeah, so
that's quite the endorsement.
Yeah, that's as glowing as you can get sometimes with Eurojank games sometimes. I've put about 20, you said like 23, 24 hours?
23 hours according to Steam.
I haven't had time to focus
just
on
say
it.
20
really.
hours, 25 hours. What? Like it's so weird to say it like a weirdly specific number, but then say, I don't really know what it is.
I mean, I only say it. Well, here's the thing. Sometimes I like to kind of pretend like I don't really know what it is because I don't want you jumping down my throat for calling me weird for knowing the exact number of hours I've spent playing a game when I usually do know.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean,
if you know and that's not weird. If you just know exactly it because you looked at the time or whatever, that's not that weird.
So I've at my point in the game, I think I've just finished the equivalent of Act 1 of the narrative.
Okay.
I've wrapped up like
so I think it's important to point out that you are like what I would describe as the authority on Stalker here. You've played a lot of Stalker in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You have a history with the series.
Yeah.
More so than I do. I played Stalker
Pripyat. You played some Pripyat.
Call of Pripyat.
Call of Pripyat? Call of Pripyat. Sorry, I was like, oh my god, I can't remember the subtitle.
Yeah, we did that as a game of the month thing.
For the Revival Club, yeah. And I'm glad I played it. But even years later, that game was kind of jank. But undeniably intriguing.
Not jank anymore, right, Nick?
Oh, it's still a little jank.
Oh, it's jank, just in a very different way.
It's jank in a very playable way. Yeah. Like, you can very much play that game and have a great time.
This is very much another sequel in the Stalker series in the best and worst ways possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying its best to present an actual like good narrative, or at least a good, well presented narrative.
Cinematic. It's a more cinematic experience.
I wouldn't even call it necessarily cinematic.
Then what are you talking about?
I'm talking about like instead of reading dialogue boxes to get plot progression, instead you now have characters talking to you like something out of Fallout.
It's which is more of something we've come to expect from
voice
games,
acting,
right?
Well, dialogue conversations like back and forth, that kind of thing.
I mean, yeah. Your character talks with one another. You've got dialogue trees. Well, not even dialogue trees, like limited dialogue selections with each character.
But I mean, that existed in the old Stalker games. It
was 95% text.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more voice acting here, which is just
older games. Yeah, for sure.
There and to
like
Chris's
also
point,
other RPGs back then weren't like fully voice acted.
Mm-hmm. But also to Chris's point, I think. Sorry, that felt weird. To Chris Davis's point.
Damn it, Nick.
So there was in the very limited amount of time I have managed to play this game, there is a certain I don't know what that makes it feel more. I definitely don't want to use the word polished right now, anyways. But there is definitely another layer of, I don't know. There's a cinematic quality to it that is.
It's more modern, maybe. I mean, the Stalker games are
it
old.
certainly feels.
Those are
It
old
certainly
games.
feels modern. It feels like it has a place in like modern gaming. It does not feel like something. It does not feel like a remnant of the past. I mean, in some ways it might. Chris Davis can attest to that more than I can at this point. But yeah, they've definitely stepped up their game in terms of presentation and just meeting expectations for like what a modern first-person shooter is, especially a modern open-world first-person shooter, which is what this game is. I was very much like leading up to this kind of for months, just kind of like, well, what is this? Is this like, should I expect like kind of the scope of like Call of Pripyat, or is this much bigger? Is this linear? I have no fucking clue what this is. It's very much an enormous open world.
It absolutely is. But the cool thing about it is that the enormous open world is pretty much every Stalker map that has ever been made.
Kind of like smooshed into one, without seamless, right? Like you're not loading into those zones. Like it's all just kind of like connected.
Yeah, it's all connected, all logically put together.
It's the maps of the previous games.
Yeah, dude, I remember
as best as I can remember. Yes.
Dude, there was the first time they really showed like a lengthy demo of this game. There was like a 20 to 30 minute breakdown of it. And I watched the whole thing, and they were talking about like if you've played Stalker, I forgot it was not Call of Pripyat, one of the other ones, and they're like, and you probably recognize this church because and they basically said all the maps for these games have been faithfully connected and recreated to the best of our ability. And they were talking about you probably recognize this landmark, and I'm like, that's pretty fucking neat.
It is.
I'm not gonna get a lot of those references because I only played Call of Pripyat, but like that's really fucking cool.
So does it feel really big? Do you have any interesting ways of getting around?
Oh, it feels fucking huge. And there's, apart from finding a guide at only very specific settlements, like there's no fast travel in this game.
But I mean, you're not like getting on a bike and
there's no vehicles. You're
hoofing it.
Everywhere.
You're hoofing it.
Yeah.
But like
bicycle?
but like it's the things, and this is like the what little I can maybe attest to here is because that's kind of the bulk of what I've experienced so far. It's like I've probably at this point traversed a very small percentage of this map, but like the amount of like just cool shit that has happened while hoofing it across that very small space is pretty crazy. Between the various anomalies that I've come across, in like just like skirmishes that I've gotten into in the fucking dark, which feel like really we like to use this term here a lot, and it's like some of my favorite combat in any game. I always like to describe as like scrappy. Like it feels very much like holy shit, just barely making it out of these things alive, and like when you've managed to like take down a group of dudes and you're like bleeding out before you, like right and at the last second you're like bandaging yourself up, like that shit feels so good in this game. It's
dead, right?
Yeah.
So is it like, does this feel like you're playing this like a fucking Dragon's Dog? I mean, you're just like there's a main thread, but you're just wandering and seeing what shit you're gonna get into. Like, oh, there's some relic over here. Probably, I'm gonna.
I mean, you can, but you're also finding like side quests and shit. Like, you go into like little settlements and you meet people, and almost everyone has like things that they can like quests they can give you,
and they're
whatnot.
like putting waypoints on your map and shit.
I mean, only if there's a quest line that says go here to do X, Y, or Z. And that's fairly common.
I've turned off like the minimap HUD, so if I want to look at a map, I actually have to pull out my PDA, and like there you can kind of see. But like,
I never had a minimap.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you have to turn it off by default. I mean, I think it's turned on by default, but I turned it off so you can pull out the PDA to look at your map, and you can see the markers on that map. But as soon as you put the PDA away, there's nothing. There's no indicator. I mean, you can probably turn one on. I'm trying to go kind of as I'm trying to go pretty minimalistic in terms of HUD, while also not making it completely unmanageable in terms of like having any idea where I am.
Yeah.
So like I could still check my map for reference just to kind of get a direction and then walk in that direction, but I'm not constantly walking out in the world and like walking towards a waypoint. And I think there's a lot of freedom there to kind of like tailor that to whatever you want.
There
Chris
is.
Davis.
Yeah.
Chris Davis. Let me ask. You said this is like Stalker, and like it's a Stalker game in the good ways and the bad ways. The outside of like launch issues, like in terms of like game design, what are the bad I have not read much up on this game. From what I understood, the people who are actually able to play it are having a good time. I know the reviews probably reflected some of the launch issues, right? But
I think so, yeah.
What are people saying about the game, like critically, otherwise? Like aside from those issues, are the people who can play it, like are they like critics as well? Like did this nail what it was trying to do? Is this feel like Stalker 2?
I mean, I'll be honest here. I haven't been paying attention to what people have been saying. I've just been experiencing the game and just going for it.
Well, I'm asking. Okay, then I'll ask you. Like, is this? You had some concerns about this game, right?
I did,
because of the developers and development.
Yes.
Like, did they nail the assignment?
I think they've done 90 to 95% of what they need to do here.
Okay.
There's
I'm curious about the 5%.
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm pretty familiar with those old Stalker games and like what made them great. So that's why I'm asking more. I'm more curious about the 5% or whatever that you're saying they.
Well,
did
it's things that they've marketed and promised as being a part of the game that are not here at launch. There is there's this whole system that did not make it to launch called, I think, like A-Life or something like that, A-Life 2.0. And the idea, it was very smart NPC AI that was not procedurally driven, but like smart enough to where it actually cares about their own livelihood and things like that. They're not dumb spawns across the map. They're just happening.
Self-preservation. Yeah.
That's not in here, and
describe
GSC has said they're working on that, but it's not going to be there for a while.
So it's not there, so they have no self-preservation. Like, what does that mean exactly?
I mean, they're just kind of like, I wouldn't say they're necessarily dumb NPCs, but they're not necessarily running for cover away from you that much. They're not
fear.
They're not fleeing from you, things like that.
The AI kind of sucks, is what you're saying.
Well,
I think it's more of because I've had some.
You can mask bad AI by just making it really aggressive.
Yeah,
I think that is what's happening here. I could be wrong.
That's my primary complaint with this game is that there is a misbalance with how the combat currently works. This game, like the previous Stalker games, is very like tough when it comes to a combat encounter. A headshot will kill you easily. So you gotta be very careful about your firefights, how you engage, how you hide, and things like that. The problem is that it leans too hard into that, in my opinion. The very first mutant you fight in this game is a bloodsucker.
Bitch. And he's a bitch.
The bloodsucker in the previous Stalker games, like, they were like practically mini bosses. Like, they were rare encounters that could easily kick your ass. And in this, not only is it the first enemy you fight in the game, like, I'm encountering them at least once per hour, and usually in packs of 2 to 3 of them at once. So they're running around the map. They're mostly invisible. You can see the outline of them.
They're the predator.
They're predators. They're sprinting around invisible. They're jumping on you. And by the time you actually, if you're in a bad spot, you don't have good lighting, you don't have good track of the environment, like, they will just sprint at you like duck running and then just jump on you and knock you to the ground and take half your health away, then run away. And if there's another one, they just fucking pile on, man. Like, you will die.
It can be really hard.
Was it frustrating, or like it's just frustrating? You're not like scared in a good way to go certain places because of these things? Or
I mean, there's not been an encounter with a pack of bloodsuckers or a bloodsucker in which I haven't succeeded, but it's come pretty close most of the time. But here's the other balancing problem with this game is that you have your inventory management you have to do, and ammo and health items, they weigh quite a bit. And for an enemy like a bloodsucker, which could take upwards of like 10, 12 shotgun rounds to kill, like you run out of ammo real fast, but you also can't hold that much ammo because you have this weight restriction going on. So it's this.
So there's definitely balancing to be done.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've gotten soft, man.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you right now, that was the first mod that I installed for this game was having the weight of health and ammo.
That's the real Stalker experience there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this. I think it's good that I now know that mod exists. I'm not going to go use it immediately, but I'm glad I know
Let
it
me
exists.
tell you, it felt pretty good playing all of Dragon's Dogma 2 without the ability to do mods because but like at the same time, man, some people had a much easier, different experience by playing Dragon's Dogma 2 on PC. And I feel like not being able to install these mods kind of makes you like my finders. Nick, this is off topic, but you remember the finders token, like when you on the Sphinx quest?
Yes.
You were able to watch a video to eventually you found yours, right?
Yes.
Man, I found mine on the night of the 7th day, like almost like randomly. I almost shit bricks when I found it. I kind of given up, honestly, and then I stumbled across it. People were just using mods to tell them exactly where that shit was on the map. You know,
I mean, it was kind of ridiculous. It was kind of an absurd ask.
Yeah, but good, man.
Specifically, for those of you who aren't aware, in Dragon's Dogma 2, there is a quest that you can only complete because you're collecting these tokens throughout the world, right? And like the only way to complete this quest is to the last one, because I forgot how many there are. There's a bunch of them.
Actually, that's the first set of questions. You can encounter the Sphinx again.
Well, the last one you pick up has to be is back where you
first.
There's some question that says where in the world did you pick up the first of these items, these special items?
That's where you need to go.
It's a crazy request. She's like, you've got 7 days to figure it out. Crazy request, but like just having to think back to like your journey when you first started it is like a cool feeling, a cool thing.
Yeah, but nobody was paying attention to that shit. Anyway, sorry, this is a huge tangent. Let's get back to Stalker.
Yeah. Mods.
Another thing I'm not certain about yet, because again, I think I've only traversed like maybe a third of the map overall. Because it is a huge map, but there's a lot of it that's like fogged over, so you don't know like what's up there.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be that a good portion of the map is like stat locked to where you have to have because of narrative reasons, like certain equipment to progress into those areas. I won't be too specific, but there's an area that you have to go through for the main quest line, but you have to have this kind of suit if you want to do it, or you got to have a shitload of pills. And there is that level of freedom, like okay, I can go scrounge up pills, or I can go do this side quest to get this protective suit. But at the same time, like it is.
But like that's kind of the only way. You want more freedom in a game that gives you this much freedom? I mean, I feel like that's kind of wild, because like when you think about how big the map is, and you're talking about how there's like one area where they're like, we want to hold you back from going in here until you've done a certain thing in the story. I feel like that's not like, I don't feel like that's a huge ask. You know what I mean? Because there's so much to do on this map, and there's so many side stories to take in, and there is so much freedom you have, and there's some really early on, like there's some really cool side quests that you go on.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of like native on the map like mysteries to go find that are just so fucking cool.
Emergent gameplay it's very Red Dead Redemption in that way. Like that's the reason that I've always I love Red Dead. Sorry, don't make that face at me,
Well,
Chris Davis.
I don't think of Red Dead when I think of emergent gameplay, but I guess
I'm talking about
moments.
I'm talking about Red Dead Redemption 2 specifically has the reason why it's my favorite game of all time is there's so many just stumbling across little stories that you weren't expecting to find out in the wild. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying it's done the exact same way.
You run across a guy that is shoeing his horse, and you interrupt him, and the horse kills him by kicking him.
Well, but
you don't have that in this. Instead, what you have
that's
is
not what I consider emergent stuff. But
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
The emergent stuff so far for me in this game is I'm walking through an area. And I either encounter a pack of bandits, I encounter some mutants, or I stumble into a firefight between XYZ faction. There's nothing in here that feels emergent. At least in my personal opinion. But there's
emergent being to be clear here, like the stories that happen through gameplay, not the stories that are being put there by the creators of the game, right?
I think the
grenade rolls down the hill kind of moment.
I think we're just having a disagreement on the use of the word.
Okay. Well, I don't need to. Okay. No, I'm just saying there is a lot. I know what y'all are referring to.
There's a lot to experience in this game, in this world, that isn't linked to the main quest. That is just, and they're really cool stories. I just did a side quest the other day before my fucking PC shit the bed. That was basically go to this poppy field, and you go to yes. I found the poppy field, and you talk to a dude, but I'm walking through this poppy field, and I'm starting to hallucinate,
fall asleep,
and then you talk to this guy, and you're like, what you need is out here in this poppy field, but people who walk, there's an anomaly in the field. You walk into this field, and you're going to fall asleep, and you're never going to wake up. Yeah. So you can either find a suit that will allow you to kind of go into it without worrying about it, or you can be chugging energy drinks. So I'm running through this field frantically trying to find shit while my eyes are getting heavy, which you can actually see happening. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking pass out. So I'm literally chugging energy drinks as I'm running through the field like a crazy person. And that kind of shit is just you could totally miss that. You could totally not do that.
I mean, I consider that I consider that a bespoke moment.
Yeah.
I don't consider that emergent. Another bespoke moment, I found a cottage in the middle of the woods. And I won't go into details, but Grandma's cottage is worth visiting if you can find it. Shit goes down. It's really fun. And then there's just dynamic. Sometimes there's really cool dynamic encounters with certain enemies that have never been in a Stalker game before. Brand new enemies, like Das Übermus, as I like to call it.
I'm sorry, what?
Das Übermus.
Okay.
You'll know when you see it. You'll know when you see Das Übermus.
If I ever get to that point.
Oh yeah, you'll get there. You'll know it.
If I can get it to run, is what I'm saying.
The coolest
German for Gilf. A lot goes down in Grandma's cottage. Am I right?
Oh my God!
That's not what I meant.
Went there. He went there.
Well, he's the one excited about her cottage. I don't know what's going on.
We have talked this long about Stalker 2, and I haven't heard you use the word emission once.
Well, okay, so you want to talk about missions? We'll fucking talk about missions.
I want to talk about night emissions.
There's nighttime emissions.
Nocturnal emissions.
Nocturnal emissions.
Stemming from sticking your finger in your butt during the middle of the night.
Oh my God.
That's
wow.
Call back. Okay, so emissions are probably the coolest fucking thing in the entire Stalker franchise to me. For the uninitiated, it is a randomly generated storm that happens in the previous games about once per day. That anything that's outside of a safe area, inside a thick building or something, everything outside dies, and it replenishes all the artifacts on the map for you to go hunting for. Emissions are here in this game, but they're much less frequent, and it feels like they're more narratively triggered than actual random events.
I feel like that might be the byproduct of the map being more open. I don't know. I've only experienced one so far. I've only experienced one so far, so I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's less systemic than that. That's like a less. That's not cool. But whatever.
That is,
I mean,
it was.
This is a game I really want to play, but I can't run this shit on my PC. I don't think.
Yeah, it's well, wait, give it a few more patches and then maybe consider doing something about that.
Or just play it on PlayStation.
Yeah,
This is on
it's
console.
on Xbox.
Yeah, this is on. Is it not on PlayStation?
No, it was a Microsoft exclusive for a while.
Oh shit! Never mind.
Yeah.
Don't play it on console because
Well, I'm
Brad
sure.
doesn't own an Xbox.
But by the time it comes, who does? By the time it comes out, or by the time it's in good shape, maybe that's when it will come out on PlayStation.
Pretty much, yes. That's exactly what's going to happen. But yeah, the emissions, they're fucking cool in this game. They're a slightly different interpretation from Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat, but it's still this massive storm with lightning striking and the sky going red and a wave of wind and stuff coming at you. In the distance, it looks cool.
Shelter.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like Call of Pripyat and Clear Sky, like if an emission happens outside the world, you will be pointed to the nearest potential safe shelter.
Yeah,
but because it's not because it's a narrative driven aspect. Like it's really disappointing to me.
I get that. Like stuff like that means so much more when it's not scripted.
Yeah. I wish I could comment on it. I've only experienced one, and I wasn't really paying attention to whether it was narratively triggered or not. I don't think it felt that way to me because I wasn't doing like a main story quest when it happened, but I was doing a side quest. But I don't know if it would have happened at the same time if I had, done the side quest over again. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't have a point of reference.
Let me specify. It's not fully narratively driven, but most of them that I've experienced have been narratively driven. Like I think I've only had like 2, maybe 3 maximum that have been just random out in the world experiences.
Okay.
Maybe as you get further, it's more.
I will say this: hearing you say like in the past, it's something that felt like it happened once a day.
No, it did happen once a day.
I know, but like that sound, like knowing that it happens once a day, makes it less compelling to me. Like hearing you say that it's less frequent here, but it does still happen, means it can happen at any time, and it doesn't happen often.
Knowing that there's like a looming threat coming at all times.
Well, I mean, but to me, it knowing that it's not going to happen like clockwork every day means that I always have to kind of be ready for it. And when it does happen, it feels more special, quote unquote, because it doesn't happen as often.
If it's systemic, sure, but
it sounds like it is still systemic. It's just been they're doing it less frequently.
Well, here's the real problem, in my opinion, is that and I can't speak to Clear Sky because I didn't actually play Clear Sky. I've only done Call of Pripyat and Chornobyl. In Call of Pripyat, there was the buildup of tension and the forewarning signs of an emission coming. The world would slowly get a little darker. The sound would get a little bit more muted. You'd hear like a distant bass rumble. Like you could tell something's going to happen pretty soon.
Right.
You don't have that in this. You basically just get like a radio warning and the weather starts changing. So that level of dread and anticipation, like that was critical to the emission experience, in my opinion, and it's not implemented well in this.
Okay, that is a little disappointing, but what I can comment on at this point is that I have spent more time in this game doing just exploration and kind of doing things kind of organically, and it probably amounts to like 3 hours of solid gameplay, and the kind of scrappy moment to moment encounters that I've had in that limited time have been some of the best I've had with a first person shooter, I think, just in general, in a long time. Like kind of like I was walking through this like derelict factory, kind of like that's kind of it's outdoors, and I was like walking on this catwalk, and it was nighttime, and all of a sudden I just kind of out of the corner of my eye saw like what I thought was like a flashlight kind of moving, and I turned and looked, and there was like a patrol of these like from this faction. I guess I think they were
Bandits, maybe
bandits or whatever. But I could see them. It was pitch black. It was like Dragon's Dogma, and they were just walking along, and I could see their flashlights. And I was like, "Holy fuck! I hope they don't notice me." So I turned my flashlight off, and then someone shot at me. And all of a sudden, I was in this firefight. It was pitch black at night, and the only way I knew I was hitting my target was because when I hit them, you would see their flashlight like go like suddenly look straight up in the air, like they were falling over, like because they were falling backwards, and then the light would go out. And I did this entire skirmish that way, and I had to like bandage myself up like 2 or 3 times in the middle of that, and my heart was like beating out of my chest. I was like, "Holy shit!" And I survived, and I was like, "That was crazy." And like those are the moments that like that's what I'm here for.
Speaking of, do you think this game seems like it's doing really well? And do you think there's like younger people playing this? How should I say this? Do you think anyone has called this single player PUBG yet?
no.
I bet some.
Yes.
I bet that has been said on the internet.
Then that is an uneducated, dumb child.
Well, yes, but Brad's probably right.
It's
and, you know,
clearly single player Tarkov though.
Okay, well,
God damn it, Crispy.
Tarkov. Well, okay, that's also very popular. I was trying to appeal to the most mainstream of youth.
But I guess, Chris Davis, if I had to ask you one question, considering now that you've played a significant chunk of this, would you say, as a Stalker fan, you feel pretty good about this now? Overall? I'm not asking you to give it like a score. I'm just saying, like,
I'm feeling positive about it. I'm feeling optimistic for where the game wants to go, because it does have some interesting narrative implications. But I need this game to get more patches. I need to get more balance changes. And I need to experience more of the world.
Which they are cranking out patches pretty. They've done 3 in a week, which is, and today's patch was 23 gigabytes, so pretty hefty patch.
I want you to hop in your time machine, Chris Davis. Go back to 2007, Mr. Christopher Davis, and tell him,
great year.
Tell him that you're more of a Life is Strange kind of guy these days. What would he say to that?
He would probably ask, "What is Life is Strange, and how can I play it?"
What happened to you, man?
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. He would use that rocket launcher and blast you away.
Now he would probably have to figure out time to fit in between matches of COD 4, but no, he would definitely play it.
You know, final thought about Stalker 2 that I'll say, because I again can't contribute a whole lot to this, but I will say it's pretty clear right out of the gate that there really just isn't many games like this these days, and I think that is kind of the big takeaway. You're right; they are. Most of them are probably multiplayer.
You say that, but like this ain't that different than like fucking Fallout or something, right? I mean, let's be real here. Scavenging for shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a certain element of it that's certainly like Fallout, but there is something really like.
I guess Fallout doesn't really.
Combat feels so organic. I think for me, it's just combat feels so organic. There's anomalies are just such a unique thing, and like having to throw the bolts to like to detect anomalies. And I got an achievement the other day for luring an enemy and then using an anomaly to like take out an enemy, which I did totally accidentally, but like that shit's pretty cool when it happens. Especially if you like happen to like lure them into like one of those like anomalies that's like a tornado and it like sucks them up and throws them. Like that shit's neat.
There's also like the Metro series, a Metro game just came out this year. I'm not trying to like
Metro
shade, but like half the games and developed.
But I'm not saying I'm not
set in Chernobyl. I feel like these days.
I'm not even talking about the setting. I'm not talking about the setting. I'm specifically talking about a open single player, very quote unquote systemic style first person shooter that is like just committed to being that.
That's good.
Like,
I mean, I was kind of bummed about the Metro series because it was less like this. So, and I was worried that Stalker 2 was going to be more like a Metro game.
Metro.
So I'm
I think I
glad
was worried
that it
about
is
that too,
still a
but
Stalker game.
I love that. I love Metro, but for completely different reasons.
Yeah, they're two very different
So.
tastes.
But yeah, this is pretty
cool.
It's pretty cool.
I mean,
and I'm hoping this patch sticks.
So this sounds like this might, for you, Nick, it might dethrone.
Oh, stop trying to like get me to like
trying
talk.
to think what's in your number, what's in your
like,
running.
What bugs me the most about this, Braz? I really don't think you give a shit one way or the other. You're just trying to like.
You're
get
mad because I can figure it
me.
out. Usually, that's all it is, and you like
I'm
to
not
make
mad.
it a big secret.
I just don't know what you want me. Like, I don't sit here and grill you on whether you think
because
the games that
care.
Do you
enough.
think
I care.
Point Nova is gonna beat UFO 50? Like, come on, man.
No,
come on.
No chance. You're not invested because you don't care about those games.
You're just trying to make. That's not. I watch every one of your top 10 videos. Believe it or not.
You probably skim.
I don't actually. In fact, I often like that's. I'll put it on as like I'll watch it while I'm at work and shit. Like it makes my day fly. I love it. You bitch.
Go
Anyways,
listen to my 2012 tomorrow at work while you're working.
Sure, I'll do that.
2012 was a good year.
I'll go back and watch every one of your top 10 videos tomorrow, Brad, and I'll report back. I'll just randomly start pinging you in Discord about like commenting on something that you said back in 2012.
I don't think I'm gonna reciprocate. We're transitioning. Can I say that Malia was telling me some Dexter news today, and she was like reading some shit, and
I really hate that
there was a jump scare. You hate Dexter?
No, just keep going.
She was reading Dexter news, and she was and she got a jump scare because it was written by Nick Henderson. And she was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't know you were still like writing Dexter articles.
Yeah, I am writing one right now.
How many?
She was like, "What the fuck?"
How many Dexter correspondents could there be out there?
It's literally me and it's literally me and one other person on that site.
It's just funny that she was relaying Dexter news from you.
That's actually, I love that. That's fucking awesome.
I have a clarifying question I need to understand, Nick. It's called Dexter Daily. Is there a daily article about Dexter?
No.
When there are actively new episodes coming, yes, almost pretty much every day. But like, the site was like basically stagnant for like 10 years, and then came back to life.
So like, if it's a 10 episode season, there's at least 70 articles going up.
Dude, go just scroll. You'll see he literally posts every little tidbit of news, like
that's a lot.
Every single one. But it's worked in our favor, man. We invited to the premiere because of that shit. Like,
true. I don't think there's a lot of like news sites right
today.
Today,
a person from Paramount / Showtime sent us a thing about an hour.
Are you going to like the premiere of this new one?
No.
Or it already premiered, or when's the?
No, it premiered. Actually, there was an opportunity. It wasn't the same kind of thing. It wasn't like a red carpet premiere.
What are they offering you to shill it, Nick?
No. There was you could pay to go to like a screening and do a Q&A with the cast, and it was a day before the premiere, like the actual premiere, and I was like, it was so stressful last time. I can wait the day. Anyways.
Yeah, but you got that picture with the cast, and you had a hell of a time.
Yeah. I did. I have.
She
I
was
continue
referencing
to love it.
Some article you wrote like in September, or some theory you had, or some shit,
which has now been proven correct.
Yeah, that's why she brought it up. She was just talking about it.
Oh man, that makes my heart warm. Thank you.
Well, she didn't say it was written exceptionally well. No,
she was appalled. No,
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
But that's cool. Anyways, Hey, what's going on with Fantasy Critic? It's December.
I mean, it's over for as far as number one.
I think I'm out. I'm bleeding points.
No, number two's a toss.
I'm out. I hate Fantasy Critic.
I'm just doing my best not to end up in last place.
So who's in the running for number two? What's it looking like? It's a close one, right?
You and Nolan
still coming.
You and Nolan are neck and neck.
We're not neck and neck. You are not paying attention.
But you are the two front runners.
I don't know.
Yes.
There's only one clear thing, and that's that I have won this year. Now, I'm curious about where number two is going to land.
Okay, so first place, Brad, currently with 153 points. Second place, Nolan with 110. Third place, Crispy with 105. Fourth place, Carlos with 103. Fifth place, Ed with 95.
I've fallen behind Ed.
Nick with 93.
But what are the games
last
still
place,
to come
me
out?
with 83.
What are the games still to come out?
Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, Monument Valley, Power Rangers, Spirit of the Samurai, Alien, Rift of the Necrodancer.
No, Rift of the Necrodancer has been delayed officially.
Yeah.
He hasn't dropped it.
He never dropped it.
Yeah.
But he can't replace it.
Anton Blast Symphonia.
He is a little busy.
Yeah.
Behemoth. Did Behemoth score?
It's not out yet.
No, it is not scored. No, I think reviews
it's
are
the same day.
Friday or Thursday, Friday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's still games getting scores. I think Chris Davis has a chance at number two. If Monument Valley gets reviews,
you say Chris Davis? You think Crispy?
Yes, because he still has Indiana Jones. Well, Crispy has Rivals, right? Or no, who got Rivals? Ed? No,
Ed.
Crispy's all of Crispy's games are out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the only one that has all my games scored.
So, but Chris Davis has Indiana Jones and Monument Valley. Now, Monument Valley, I think, has a good chance of not actually getting enough reviews by the end of the year, just because it's like a fucking mobile game, right? But Indiana Jones could do
me.
Well. What are your points at, Chris Davis?
I'm at 84 currently.
Okay, and Nolan's at what? The problem with Nolan is that he has an empty spot
currently
now. I don't think he's going to be able to. He's not going to fill, and he has a game that actually needs more critic reviews. Now, I've told him that game has reviews on Metacritic that are not on OpenCritic, like a few, and I'm not sure if they're top critics or not. But all he needs to do is drop those links into OpenCritic, and they might catch. Because it has a submit a review link thing. He needs to do that. I don't know if they're top critics or not, but he might get a score for that game that's on his list. He has some indie game that doesn't have a score. It only has like one top critic, I think, right now. But otherwise, I don't know.
I think what I'm
so
happy
maybe
about
is not up in the air. Well, Nick still has potential. I mean,
I still don't understand how you think he could.
Behemoth.
Oh fuck! See, yeah, I still have Spirit of the Samurai, Symphonia, and Power Rangers, but
now I think so. Power Rangers could score like an 85 or something. So I think
pretty good.
And you also counter Behemoth though. Behemoth might score well, but could be a tragedy. You could gain points on that. Who knows?
Or it might not score at all. Apparently,
it'll get a score because that's a hotly anticipated VR game. So it'll get a score, trust me. Also, you have to take that -7 at the end of the year from.
I know.
So yeah, I don't know. So maybe Nolan has like clinched number two, but we still never discussed what number two's prize is. We just agreed that there should be something.
Yeah, we did that. We did that thing where it didn't seem like
we needed bad at setting. like this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we are. We're terrible at it
before draft night, and it's really kind of frustrating, but whatever.
Well, maybe there's. You know what I think? I think there's too many cooks in the kitchen trying to make a decision. I think.
Well, Brett, it was agreed. We just sort of said we're just gonna repeat last year, as far as the pot. We also agreed that there would be an actual pot before the end of the year, of which there is still not.
Yeah,
So
dropping
who the fuck
balls left and
knows?
right.
But I don't know. I want there to be stakes. So I want. Yeah, I say that now, right? That's silly.
Brad, let's talk about it tomorrow and try and make a decision by the end of the week.
So
yeah.
Okay, so we haven't figured out the prize for second place, but the loser has to play the worst game on their list, right? Still.
So
Yes.
first and last, from what I understand, we just copy pasted from last year. So and last year it was they have to play the worst game on the list, but it was only like, and they had to stream it.
Yeah.
And
the only reason I remember
it could be Ed. Is Ed gonna stream his Flintlock or whatever the fuck got his worst score? I don't know.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
You got to do it, Ed.
You have no choice. You've got to do it.
You have no choice. I mean, we can't. The rules have to be rules. We can't just throw this shit out. Otherwise, there's no stakes and no one's gonna care.
You're right. You're right, Brad. We'll be better.
I have agreed that I will stay out. Y'all can tweak all the levers for next year all you want. I will stay out of those deliberations completely.
Levers.
If y'all want to blast remix into the stratosphere or whatever, early access, whatever y'all want to do, y'all can even put me in last place of the draft. I don't care. But I still can't be like seriously handicapped. That's not fair, right?
No, of course not.
We have to be on it even. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
We should.
Yeah, we can move on. We will make a decision on these final details this week. God damn it. I swear to God. And we will let everybody know what the outcome of that is. But now, guys, I think it is time for us to wrap up the show with a 4-player minute. So, Brad.
Okay, I'll go first.
What are your final thoughts?
As my final thought, I'm not saying that I'm like so good at Fantasy Critic or whatever. I do think I got really lucky at a couple of places this year, and it paid off big.
You're still in the first place.
I'm more just responding to what White Burrow is saying, or what I just said actually about I'll stay out of deliberations. I just don't want y'all to think there's any sort of funny business where I'm tweaking settings to benefit.
The only person
somehow.
saying that I think is you. I don't think anyone.
I know, but I don't want anyone to think that, because we've definitely gotten to screaming matches about rules in the past.
Nobody in our community should think that unless we are expressing that opinion, which I don't think we are.
Now I will say, for my actual final thought, it's more about PC games. I've been thinking a lot about the state of my PC, which is now it's coming up on 8 years old.
Dang.
It's crazy. And I built it literally before I had children, and it was expensive at the time, I guess, but now my expenses are just kind of different, and it's harder to justify a big expense. And PC gaming especially seems so much more expensive. People in Discord today were talking about what the prices might be on this 5000 series NVIDIA cards. And I'm like, who has that sort of disposable income? That seems absurd. It feels different being a enthusiast PC gamer now than it used to be 8 years ago, right? The thing is, for the past 8 years, I've been able to no problem play all of the games I've wanted to play on PC. And now we're getting to the point where I don't know. Stalker's on Game Pass, which is great, right? Because I have PC Game Pass. That's where I get most of my PC games. And plus we have our Steam free family, right? So I get a lot of PC games. I get a lot of access to a lot of games on PC. But I didn't even bother installing Stalker 2. It's just, I think it's just too, the state of Stalker 2 right now, but I don't think my PC is going to run it. Now, but I'm eyeing Avowed. Avowed is a game that I believe is going to stay on Xbox, at least for now.
I think it's a timed exclusive, yeah.
Because I know Indiana Jones is going to come to PlayStation, right? But Avowed is a game. I mean, the new Obsidian RPG, I absolutely want to be there on launch day. Although it is launching around Monster Hunter, which is a bad idea. But Avowed can only move so many times before. I don't think it's going to find its spot. I think it might struggle no matter what, honestly. But Avowed's the game I absolutely want to play day one. And it's not the most probably. I mean, I'm sure I'll be able to run it, but I've definitely been thinking about like graphics cards and stuff, and just looking at these prices, I'm like, I don't see a future where I'm like building a new PC anytime soon. Even like updating the graphics card, people are like, oh, maybe you could get by with like a fucking just get one that has DLSS, and you'll be fine. But like even those, I'm on a 1080 right now, right? People were linking me like eBay's links for like 37
For what it's worth,
still like multiple hundreds of dollars. I'm like, come on, man, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
for what I mean,
I
everything
can't
you're
build a new
saying.
PC. I was just trying to get a little more juice out of a graphics card, but even those prices seem rough.
For what it's worth, and I'm obviously not like the authority on building PCs. I still look to Chris and Nolan to help me. Sorry, that sounded so fucking weird. Chris Davis
And I'm
and
not going to
Nolan.
build a PC. Let's be clear. I'm talking about just maybe upgrading my graphics card, even though my processor is like really old, and who knows if it even works with my motherboard. But I just want a little more juice, maybe if I can
I'm
find
just
a
saying
deal. But
a
it sounds like
strategy.
these deals don't exist.
There's just I feel like I'm just saying, financially speaking, there's like probably an ideal way to go about it, which is like do it piecemeal, do it over a period of months, like buy one piece at a time, and on like bigger purchases, like
finances work. I mean,
just saying. I mean, start saving. I don't know.
It's not saving. The money's there. I'm saying it would be really stupid for me to spend it on like overpriced PC parts. And I don't see that philosophically changing anytime soon. It is not about the amount of money I have. It is about life choices. And it has gotten absurd. Like the prices of these cards especially have gotten absurd. And
it has.
And I don't know,
actually has. Well, I told you if I end up upgrading my card, I will sell you mine on the cheap. I just need a little bit of cash.
Why are you doing that before Avowed comes out?
Maybe.
That's the thing.
I don't know.
That card that you have is not.
It's not bad. It's fine.
Card. I'm gonna plug it into this thing with a 8-year-old processor, and it's gonna like bottleneck the shit out of it. It's overkill for what my current build can probably. I just wanted a little more juice, not a lot more juice that's being held back by everything else. So I don't fucking
right.
I don't know.
You're right.
That's
right.
That's my final thought. I'm thinking about it. It might be a world where I just can't play everything I want to play, which because of the Xbox's Microsoft's motto, I've been eating good ever since I traded my shit in when Scalebound got canceled. I've been eating good. It's like it don't matter. I could be an Xbox fan on PC, like Phil said.
My decision to upgrade my graphics card is going to probably hinge very much upon whether or not Stalker eventually works, but I'm going to give it some time.
Because patches. What's a friendly price? Tell me, Tack. What are you saying? What's the great?
And also, everybody's like telling me to wait for the 50 series because they think I should get a 50 series. It's because they think
right around the corner. It's going to cost you.
Everything's going to drop in price.
4 figures, but just wait around the corner.
Like, all right.
You're Crispy, fine, Nick. I don't think you need to be upgrading. I would get a fucking PS Pro before I upgraded my graphics card. You have a good one.
Brad, you give me a budget and I will build something for you that's
you motherfucker. Are you not listening to me?
On the cheap.
Okay. $150.
Dang.
Tell me how to upgrade my PC to better run Avowed for $150.
Give me your specs.
Okay.
Challenge accepted. Okay. All right.
I can find the shit. I just can't decide if it's worth it. Okay, go ahead.
Crispy, what's your final thought?
I don't fucking have thoughts anymore, man. I don't know. I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5, as I've been saying, for a while now. And honestly, I gotta tell you, up to this point, it's been pretty great. It's been pretty cool. One thing I think that is probably going to come up when I actually talk about it is it just kind of like runs off a cliff, huh? Like,
oh man.
It's like, where is this going?
And plummets.
Damn, dog.
I don't remember what the cliff was.
I've also been watching not Metal Gear Solid 5 specifically, but like Metal Gear retrospectives and stuff about
Been going down the
Peace
rabbit hole.
Walker, because like Peace Walker is, I think, the only mainline one that I've never played. Yeah, it just seems like there's a bunch of really cool content that was made for this game that didn't make it into the game. And yeah, I don't know. But I'll actually talk about that once I have like footage and have played more of it and can speak with some authority. But even if the rest of my time with it is disappointing, the like 60 or so hours, 765, I don't know how many hours that I've put into it right now have been fucking sick. And like, the more I play it, the sadder I get.
Well, that's sad.
The sadder I get.
But I mean, are you sad also because like Metal Gear is donezo?
That's why I'm sad. It's like, we're just not gonna get another, yeah.
Hey, if Silent Hill can come back,
Metal Gear
can come back.
No, it's not going to come back in a way that matters. You know, it's not going to come back in a way that is like cool or fun. I mean, I am excited about 3 Delta. Like, I'm going to play the shit out of that, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like, you know, what? I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know. I'm excited about Death Stranding 2, though.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
I can't wait to be playing Death Stranding 2 at the same time as Crispy, because that just wasn't an experience we had for Death Stranding 1. But Crispy is like all the way in now, and
I'm up in it. Like,
down to the hilt, as they say.
Like, I am fucking ready. I'm ready.
Cool. Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Chris Davis.
Hi.
Final thought.
Final thought is an oldie but a goodie.
I know what you're going to say.
Fuck you, Ubisoft.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Well, I can talk about my house, but Brad doesn't want me to. He'll just leave the call.
Your whole apartment behind you is packed up.
Let's hear about it. Did you go with like a subway tile in the kitchen?
Shut the fuck up, Brad.
I don't even know what a subway tile is. No, fuck you, Ubisoft. They decided to reveal this evening that they're having X-Defiant shut down. And as a result, they are shutting down the production studio in San Francisco. Their Sydney, Australia team is ramping down. And it's expected that the Osaka team is going to be laid off too. Stephen Taylor reporting 177 layoffs. Half the team has been moved to other projects. And Ubisoft had, quote, hoped it would compete with Call of Duty, but recently was denying shutdown rumors amid declining player numbers. No fucking shit. You spent like 7 years making this fucking COD knockoff that had 3 different identities between various stages of development, and no one ended up giving a shit because it's not Fortnite, it's not COD, it's not what people are familiar with and enjoy. So, fuck you for laying all these people off.
On a kind of a related note, I have a coworker he's one of the few coworkers I have that like talks about video games or whatever. So like every once in a while we're like, hey, so, what'd you play this weekend? And he always hits me with like the most unexpected shit. But last week he was like, oh man, I played X-Defiant all weekend, and I was like,
you fool!
What? I was not expecting that. Just thought that was kind of funny. Not in light of this is awful news. But I had not even thought about that game until he said that. So,
you get to break that news to him tomorrow when you talk.
I'm sure he's aware. Because maybe that was even part of maybe that's even what inspired him to go in there and actually play it again. I don't know.
Evidently, they were selling like a ultimate founders pack for people that pre-ordered the game and wanted to get early access to stuff. And Ubisoft, to their credit, is refunding people who bought those packs. Oh, but by the way, you've got to wait 8 weeks for you to get your refund. So, yeah. Thanks, Eve.
Yeah, it's pretty lame. Also, X Defiant, terrible name, but that doesn't mean it
Fucking
deserves to be shut
atrocious
down.
name.
But like, it's just one of those like in one ear out the other kind of names.
Hey,
Like,
speaking of Ubisoft, I don't mean to hijack, but like this is also the other game that I've gone back to. Besides Dragon's Dogma 2, is I finally am going back to continue playing Prince of Persia and Lost Crown. Did who here has finished that game?
shut the fuck up, Brad. I feel like you're just baiting me.
Is it just you, Nick?
Yeah, I think so. I think Ed played it. I think Ed finished it.
Okay, but you did finish it, right, Nick? You're just a hater about the art style. Well, I'm not even gonna talk about
not
that.
even
That's just
a fucking hater, you
crazy
bitch.
thing to say. But like
I'm
that
not.
game is like
Fantastic.
legit fantastic. That is a
Yes.
fantastic game, and Ubisoft also like shut down that studio, which was the Rayman. That was like the Rayman Legends Origins studio. Like they made incredible shit, and this was an incredible Prince of Persia game, and it's on
Nobody is
it's out
safe,
on everything.
yeah.
It's like discounted for the season. I think like people should buy and play that game. It is fucking good, and it's huge
Send a fucking message.
as a Metroidvania.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
game is so fun to play, like in all aspects. The combat, the platforming, puzzle solving, like it is an exceptionally well made Metroidvania. It really
Easily
is.
the best Prince of Persia game in the past
Okay, well, that means literally
long.
nothing.
Long.
I mean, I guess we did get 2 Prince of
Sorry.
Persia games this year. To
That
be
was
fair,
a big nothing sandwich of
you know
a
what's
statement.
funny?
I apologize.
You know what's funny? So like they've released like free skins or whatever and shit, like content for the game. And I went into the skins and I noticed I had a lot more than I did when I first started playing at the beginning of the year, including like they have like a classic like a Sands of Time costume or like an old Prince of Persia costume. There's some without his like kind of dumb hair or whatever. So I'm kind of like vibing with those. But they have a purple prince in there. Specifically, they added into the game when Prince of Persia Rogue came out. And it's funny because it makes him purple. But everyone hated that so much that the dev in their recent huge update made him not purple. But in Lost Crown, you could still play as the purple prince from Prince of Persia Rogue. And that's kind of funny. He's purple. It looks very strange.
But it wasn't like the main character, just the main character though. Like they did a huge art pass, right?
Yeah. They completely did like a huge art pass.
In fact,
and
we
a lot
watched
of
the
other
trailer.
content.
We watched the trailer for that during
sad.
trailer talk.
Yeah, we did. It's sad because I don't think that game is really performing like Lost Crown didn't, but I guess. But Ubisoft, I mean, what trash fucking publisher to kill? Like, I mean, it's big Hi-Fi Rush energy like from last year. You don't. They put out a critically acclaimed game at the beginning of the year. Everyone loves it. Good vibes. Prince of Persia's back, and they're like, no, not good enough for us.
Do we think that Sands of Time remake is ever going to actually see the light of day?
Because money. I mean, they've been rebooting that, but like at this point, who gives you like why even release it?
If they're like closing studios responsible for new, fresh, original Prince of Persia games that are reviewing really critically, I don't think why even bother putting the effort into developing and launching the Sands of Time? They're just going to close that studio after that game comes out.
Well, I think and this is really going to sound fucking morbid, but I think they're just running out of studios they can afford to close, and instead what they're doing is just disbanding those teams and reprioritizing where they go. So
it's like an Activision thing, right? But people end up they say they do that, but then people are like, okay, well, I can't move to another country, so I guess I'm out of a job. It's all horse shit when companies do this. We disbanded the team. I'm like, no, you closed the studio and people lost jobs.
You disbanded a team and then gave them an ultimatum and they said no.
That made like really good, unique shit. Like that's the thing. They were good vibes back when they were releasing these Rayman games and other like cool, smaller projects that everyone loved. And
it's a bummer.
Geez.
It's a fucking bummer. All right. My final thought. I'll bring this home.
Oh, someone say... Okay.
Wait, say
continue.
what?
No,
what do you want me to say? What do you want me to use my 4-player minute on?
Continue.
Look, I just wanted to briefly mention that... I mean, I've mentioned it once already on the show, but like I've spent more time this past week trying to troubleshoot and get Stalker 2 running on my rig than I have spent playing Stalker 2. But the good news appears to be that the issue at hand is really nothing to do with like my machine. It's more to do with the optimization of the game itself, and that this will likely just be fixed in time with patches. There was a huge patch today, and I'm hoping against hope that it's going to do the trick. I just need it to run without hitting one of those memory leaks, because that's what's killing me. And you know, in fact, my machine, when you use like the NVIDIA thing to like optimize the settings, whatever, for my machine, it's defaulting to like epic settings on almost everything. And when it's running great. Like, it's beautiful. It's just the memory leaks end up bringing it all crashing down around me, which super fucking sucks. So I'm really hoping that today's patch or a future patch fixes that issue, and I can finally go all in on Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, because I think it has really good chance at being one of my favorite games of the year. However, the fact that I haven't been playing that means I've been spending some time going back to games that I do need to get back to. I am playing Metaphor Fantazio again. I did go back and jump back into Star Wars Outlaws, which was my most anticipated game of the year for a long time, and that game has been patched a few times. And I feel like I've kind of finally found my flow in that game, and I'm really enjoying it. So there are upsides to not being able to play Stalker 2 at the moment, so I'm trying to focus on those. So we'll see where we stand next week.
Can I ask a question, Chris Davis?
Yep.
Is Fantasy Critic tallying your points from Anton Blast yet? Is it out yet?
Yeah.
It is out. So you do have the points from Anton Blast. Double check that.
Yeah. I see him right now.
Okay.
I've got it open right here.
Okay.
All right.
And Anton Blast just went up 1 point, so it's an 87.
Damn.
I will say I'm kind of entertained by the fact that there's a review that came out this evening. Let me get it here. A Portuguese review from a website called Pizza Fria, and it gave the game only a 7.6.
You're goddamn right. I mean, obviously I love Pizza Tower, and it is a loved game, and it doesn't need more glazing, but like, it's not about Pizza Tower. I played the Anton Blast demo, and I was like, this is just kind of mid. This is from me playing that demo, because I had considered drafting it, earlier in the year before I filled up. I don't know, man. I'm glad it's getting some decent scores, but it's no fucking Pizza Tower. It's breaking blocks in the foreground and the background. I hate that background shit. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay, let me wrap this up. Let me wrap this up. Guys, this is our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we record these live every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central on Twitch and YouTube. Please join us there. But more importantly, if you want to jump into the community, be a part of the conversations, join us in Discord, as Crispy so lovingly mentioned at the beginning of the show. Discord.gg/4Player is the place to be. We're hanging out all the time, talking about games, making friends, talking about movies and stuff. Shout out to the people in Discord that have been kind of genuinely trying to help me with my Stalker 2 issues. That's another reason I love Discord. There's always somebody there to kind of help you with things like that. So we'd love to have you. If you do decide to join, pop into that introductions channel. Let us know, introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and tell us what you're playing right now. We always love to hear that shit. And of course, you can find all of our podcast episodes on the podcast service of your choice, or you can find us on 4playernetwork.com. But we'll be back next Tuesday with another show. In the meantime, guys, be good to each other, play video games, and good night.